Greetings, my name is Timothy Collinson and I'm the Faculty Librarian for Technology. And this is a video that's going to have a look at how you can apply the keywords that you've thought of. And I hope you've already watched the video on analysing your keywords and coming up with alternatives and that kind of thing. And now we're going to look at how you might actually apply those in a real world search situation. So we begin by going to the library homepage, where we can click on the button up here to search library resources, and we can search the EBSCO Discovery Service box here, but I'm actually going to use the advanced search page link here because we can get some slightly better results given what we've now done to break down our topic area. So if we just took our topic area to begin with as something like the development of an electric bicycle for urban transportation, you can, as many people do, just type your assignment or dissertation title straight into Discovery or into Google, and you can begin to get search results. And you can see that it's come back with 97,000 things. But I think we could do much better than that and actually improve the results that we're getting, make them more relevant, and make them much more useful. So I'm going to take out the beginning there and just put in electric bicycle. I'm going to take out the urban transportation, and we'll see what we just get by searching for electric bicycle. And you can see there it's come back with 300,000 results. I'm going to try limiting that a little bit by putting quote marks, because I just want that exact phrase. I don't care if it talks about electric somewhere and then mentions bicycle somewhere else. And you can see that's now already narrowed it down to 11,000 results. But having done that little processing that I showed you in the previous video, we might now put in e-bike or e-bike, and as I said in that video, a hyphen can make a difference there. So we're now saying we don't care which of these terms it is. Let's have a look at which ones are most relevant. And instead of 11,000 results, now you can see it's popped up to 32,000 things. Now you might think that was already too many, and now we've got far too many things to look at. And it's come up with one of those research starters, as I said, it occasionally finds. So we're going to try narrowing this down now with the idea of urban areas or urban or cities. So we could put in urban areas. And we might kind of be already thinking about the environment as well. So we could tuck that in as a third term, just to narrow it down further. So now we're just finding 4,000 results. But again, we can possibly change the urban areas there. We could, for example, try putting urban area in quotes and see if that changes the search results from 4,000. It's going to drop down now a little bit further to 900 results. But if we think of the word or city or cities, now I did talk about truncation there, and you could truncate this as CIT asterisk, but because that might produce lots of words we're not interested in, probably in this case it's better to just spell out the two options we've got there. So I'm going to do a search for there. So now it's going to jump up from 924 because we put in alternatives here saying we don't mind which of these we have using that or feature. And so from 924 results now, it's popped up to 5,783. So you can see that by changing the keyword you're actually searching for, it will make quite a big difference to the results that you're getting. And you can also hopefully see that what we're doing here is in each of these boxes, we're giving various words, and then we're saying and combine it with the second box and combine it with the third box. We could add a fourth box using this plus over here if we wanted to, and so on if we've got a really complicated topic. And then across the boxes, we're saying each one, we don't mind which we find. So the or is saying this or this or this, any of these will do, but then combine it with the and to narrow it down. And if you're not sure about that, I know computing students will be very familiar with Boolean logic, but there is a library guide on Boolean logic if you want to have a look at that in the library guides. Now, you might be wondering why we've bothered working really hard at this to go from, what was it, 900 results at one point to over 5,000 results. And that's because as we begin to refine our results on the left-hand side, we're going to want the biggest pool of things that we can start with. And one of the first ways we might want to narrow down our search and refine it is by date. This search set is going back to 1964, and you might think, I don't really want anything that old. And in fact, I'm only really interested in things published in the last few years. So we can change the slider there to say, look at just the last 5 years. And it's updating, and you can see there that it's thrown out a couple of thousand things there that were too old. The next thing we might do to refine is to say that, okay, I've had a look at the book material, I've got a background in what I'm doing, I've got a sort of basic understanding or an overview. Now what I really want is that scholarly academic literature that you'll find in academic journal articles and conference papers. So I'm going to click on Show More there, click on Academic Journal Articles and Conference Materials. And now we're honing in on that really scholarly literature that our academics are expecting us to deliver in our assignments and our dissertations. So you can see again now that the number of results has really dropped down. So by having that biggest pool of things that we could start with, we can now really make sure that we're zooming in on what we actually want. And there are other ways of refining over here on the left-hand side. You could, for example, limit by language or geography or by subject if you've got some ideas there of kind of where you want to focus, might be quite useful as well. The third way, so we can narrow down by using different keywords, as I've shown you. You can narrow down by refining your results, but there is a third way of actually narrowing down results, and that could be to change the field that you're searching. You can search for a particular author, for example, if you know someone you're particularly interested in looking for. You can use Discovery as a kind of journal index if you want to, but you might want to limit by title, and that works best on searches that are a little bit general. But this will radically reduce the results that you get. But now when you use this, the search term must be in the actual title of the journal or the conference paper that you're looking for. So this will radically reduce the results you get, usually to a much more manageable number of results to look through for your work. And you can see here now that it's reduced it to 74 hits here, but now environment will be in the title of the things that you're looking for. So hopefully that's quite a good way of being able to narrow down your results, in addition to refining your results and in addition to thinking about keywords. And if we go back to the library homepage and you are kind of a bit stressed about using keywords, don't miss that we have a library guide on keywords. So just search for the word keywords. And in actual fact, there's 3. One a kind of general one for civil engineers and surveyors, and one for the mechanical and electrical engineers as well. So have a look at those, and if I click on one, you'll see that they just take you through the kind of things I've been talking about in a little bit more detail, and are a handy 2-page guide to that. So don't miss that if that's useful for you. So I hope that's given you a kind of good introduction into finding journal articles, conference papers for your dissertations and for your assignments. And if you've got any questions about that, don't hesitate to get in touch with us via the 24/7 chat, via email, or come and see us in person if you'd prefer to do that. And good luck with your assignments and dissertations.